Hello and welcome to today's episode of The Power of Decision. I'm your host, Tara Patten Weisner, and I am so excited to have you here with us today because we are going to learn so much from my friend Peter, and he's going to tell us about the decisions that have changed his life and how decisions you can make after you learn what Peter has to share with you today can change your life. So without further ado, hello, Peter.
Hey, Tara. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad to have you today because I have so many questions for you.
Well, I'm dying to answer them. So let's get right into it, right?
Let's do it. So as you know, this is the power of decision. So the question I have for you to just kick this whole party off is, what one decision changed your life, Peter?
You know, it's funny. I knew you were going to ask this question, and I had a lot of trouble trying to think about what was the one decision. And just right before we got on this, I thought about it, and it came to me, and I said, it's when I lost my last W-2 job, and then I became a 1099 or self-employed person. That didn't mean that I didn't work with companies or under an umbrella. It just meant that my income wasn't consistent. And so because my income wasn't consistent, it just completely changed my life, my mindset as it relates to money and savings and working within what you have. And of course, constantly trying to work to make sure that you have a pipeline that can help you pay your bills in a few months, you know?
Absolutely. That's a great point. I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding of financial education, especially, I wish I learned some of the things that I have now gained the knowledge of in school, like how to do your taxes and how to have a budget. So how did you change what you were doing?
No, you're sort of preaching to the choir. I wish that in high school age, they would teach you how to balance a checkbook, what percentage of your money should go to rent and car payments and so on and so forth. That, we see a lot of people, especially now with social media, flaunt things that maybe they can't really afford. And so, I think I was born with some natural gifts geared towards savings just because one of my parents is that way. But also, when I had the W-2 job, I got a consistent paycheck. And no matter what I did, it was always gone. Now, granted, it wasn't a lot, but I just couldn't figure it out, right? And then when I lost it and you're like on unemployment and you're doing the best you can to just try to get by, once I started becoming self-employed, you're like, okay, I have to work really, really hard to make enough. And then you'd start to make a little bit more. And you just had to be careful with how you spend it because you have taxes, you have all these other little things. So it just sort of came with more experience,
And you had a really good point, Peter, about the financial education we get from our parents. I think a lot of the things I've overcome too has been, unlearning things that were not helpful, and then educating myself as to what was the best actions for me to take. So you shared okay, this was my last W-2 job and now I'm a 1099 employee. And that is a whole mindset shift, right? That's
completely different.
Yeah. Tell me what you had to go through there. What did you do?
Well, it's not like I made the choice. In a lot of ways, the choice was made for me. I was in an industry, so let's just go all the way back in that time frame. I was building houses. I was a site superintendent of house building in 2006 in Columbus, Ohio. And so we had a slowdown in the economy and didn't build as many houses. So therefore our company started to lay off site superintendents. Well, I was one of them. Then I went and worked for another one and I started building 4-family housing, like quadplexes for condos and things like that. That lasted 6 months. I remember getting laid off to this day. So it was like a Friday afternoon. It was the day before Ohio State, Michigan, number 1 versus number 2, one of the biggest games we've ever had. My boss comes, he's like, sorry, Peter, I got to lay you off right now, but hey, go Bucks. I'll see you tomorrow. I was like, oh my gosh, just get me through February. I knew it was slowing down and I knew we were in trouble, that changes needed to be made. I was just hoping that I could make it a few more months because up north, you always think get through the winter. And so, when I lost that job, there wasn't other opportunities in that space because the industry was really, really slow. So I happened to have a hailstorm where they needed a lot of people to do business development for hail to roofs and sidings and so on and so forth. And I just had a little bit of experience with it because of the building background. And so, I started doing that. And, I was one of those people knocking on your door in February in Columbus with like 4 inches of snow on the ground. It was terrible, but it was the start, and it was the only way that I could make a living. And so that changed your mindset. Like, you can't rely on somebody else giving you something. You just have to go get it,
I like that. And you can't even rely on a job and a paycheck because they could drop you like a Friday afternoon before the big game.
I'm fully aware of that. I think a lot of people that they get in some of these big companies and they feel really, really safe. And, as we're shooting this, it just seems like there's such a disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street. Main Street's struggling. Wall Street is booming. And everybody I talk to, that small business owner, or even in some of these big, I'm hearing about layoffs and stuff. And it's sad. And I've been in that environment when I had the W-2, and the morale in the company goes down quite a bit. So for that reason, even though what I do for work can slow down and we have less revenue, we just don't have a company culture or morale that gets in the bucket, kind of like a bigger company could,
Absolutely. Let's talk about what it is you do for work now, because you're a Gold Star adjuster, Peter.
Yes, I am. So I'm what's called a public insurance adjuster. Okay. And it's a lot like what it sounds like. I'm an insurance adjuster that works only for the public. So I'm licensed in several states. My main state where I live is Florida. And in Florida, when I have this license, I can only work for policyholders. So people that own a house, or a corporation that owns a condo building, or rather apartment complexes, you name it. The policyholders are the ones that hire me. They retain me to help them advocate on their behalf. That's the simplest way to describe it. I help prepare the claim and inspect and do all sorts of information gathering to prove with our policyholder what the insurance company has to write a check for, right? We have to look at the policy. We have to look at the, statute, depending on what state the claim is in. And we just find the best way I can always describe it to people is like, look, hey, there was some sort of event that happened during the day, and it's reported on Fox News, and it's reported on MSNBC. It's the same exact thing, but how do they come up with such different opinions about what it meant, right? So when I tell people, hey, look, your house caught on fire, or you had this natural disaster like a hurricane, you have damage, and they owe you money. How much do they owe you? How do you handle it? Who do you pick to help you do the work, right? It's pretty complicated. And where I tell people that there's real value is that sometimes just being able to have locker room talk with somebody, because it's real stressful. If you've never been through it, you can't understand it. And if you've been through it and you're forced to move out of your home, and you now got to take your kids to school from a different location and still deal with homework while you have this stress, wondering whether or not you're going to get enough money to actually put this back together. How long is this going to take? How long is my life going to be disrupted? Really, really stressful. And that part is sad. And I do my best to kind of always tell the people that I work with, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It'll work out. And then I like to set expectations in terms of timelines, and then, what to do to kind of get your mindset to where you'll relax more,
Yeah, because I think if your home life is disrupted, right, because of a tragic, act of God or, Mother Nature, whatever that looks like, and you don't have somebody, like you said, advocating on your behalf, the insurance companies, from my personal experience, are going to give you as little as possible. So those people that are struggling to really get what they are deserved and owed from the insurance companies, which have lots of money, you are the person to call.
Yeah, any policyholder advocate, especially ones that are good. So obviously I want you to call me, but if you don't call me, look them up, see if there's, Google reviews, see if you can find things about their company, so on and so forth, and then interview them, talk to them. For something like a fire, or a really big hurricane or some sort of tornadic damage with structural, you're together for a long time.
Yeah.
You need to be able to talk to them, and you need to be able to like dealing with them and trust that they are guiding you correctly.
I still think people should call you Peter.
Thank you.
So how do they call you? What do they do? How do they find you? goldstarradjusters.com?
Yeah, that's one way to find us. You can find us on our socials, Facebook, Instagram. We're posting funny videos every once in a while that people can check out. A sort of free information, but also we want to make you laugh,
You're pretty funny, Peter.
I might be on more of them. We got some good ideas coming up. So I don't know which will drop first, this or some of our funny videos, but we'll see.
See what happens. So and I'm excited about that. I haven't checked out your Facebook recently, but I'm glad you're doing funny things because you're funny.
Well, you remember these old Super Bowl commercials? So we're just drawing back. We don't need to do our own marketing or create our own stuff. We can just piggyback some other thing. And God love the insurance business, right? Because they do a really good job of, marketing my homeboy, things like that, right?
Yeah. That little Geico lizard. So
yeah,
funny.
the lizard is funny. Doug and the emu. I mean, they've, for our business, they've given us all these ideas. There's all this content out there. And so.
Hi, I'm not Tara. I'm Tara's AI clone. The real Tara is out living life while I crank out commercials that make businesses rich. Meanwhile, you're wasting money on ads that don't convert, too busy to make content, and wondering why sales are flat? Spoiler alert, most people just suck at marketing. That's why Weisner Ads exists. We make commercials that actually get leads, sales, brand recognition, even viral videos. So no more endless planning meetings or boring phone calls to produce content. I take care of everything while you do literally anything else. So what are you waiting for? Are you ready to print money? Visit WeisnerAds.com to book a call today.
I'll still be here working 24/7 because AI never gets tired, but I bet you could use a nap, just saying.
All we have to do is sort of flip it on its head and goof on it, and it's be funny. So you'll see.
What about Flo from Progressive?
So it's funny. We have a perfect Flo from Progressive in our office. If she would dress in the outfit, she's kind of shy. I don't know if she wants to do it, but she's a perfect candidate for it.
We'll keep working on her.
Yeah.
Maybe when she sees this episode, she'll realize, hey, she can be a star too.
She needs to step up for sure. Yeah. 100%.
I love that. I love that you mentioned the Super Bowl commercials because they are, I have my own advertising agency as well. And when I switched to making funny commercials, when I realized the Super Bowl commercials are like $7 million slots. Just for the slot, not just the production that goes into, the funny commercials, but the ones that I always remember, even as a kid, were the funny ones.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, storytelling, being funny, like that is the key to memorable branding success. Like we just literally named off like 4 different brands because of the skits that they performed, especially at Super Bowl. So I love that you're doing, I think funny is the way to go. Just people want to laugh, especially with what's going on today. And especially if you have, roof damage or, you get a letter from your insurance company that says, hey, you're coming up on 15 years, like you need a new roof or your rates are going to go up. Would those people, call a roofing company that would then call you, or how would that work?
You can do both. They can always call us and have us take a look. So oftentimes when anybody calls us and they describe whatever problem they're going through, we want to look at their policy and then the damage, because it's the two combined. It's not necessarily just the one. Whereas the contractor, when they look at it, it's the damage. And they might have enough knowledge to be dangerous when it comes to being reading policies and whatnot, because either people like us or attorneys will sort of teach them like, hey, this is what's in these policies. Be careful. Make sure your clients understand if they file claims, this is what this means. So I'm fine with either. If you call us, we generally go out and we take a look as a part of a consultation, so there's no cost. And then we also look at your policy and tell you if you did have claimable damage, what is the outcome? Because there's a lot of really wonky policies. And the other thing I tell people about insurance companies, they're not all the same. They're like having children. They all got their own personality, right? So what you get from one for the same exact damage, you won't get from another. You get a completely different behavioral pattern. So,
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
I like that. Maybe you could tell us some stories. I know you recently, for the first time ever, got in writing from an insurance company. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
victory.
Okay, so I got to correct that. I was going to tell you guys that. I misread it. I thought I got on letterhead from an insurance company admitting they were wrong. They never admit they're wrong, everybody, right? They just don't. They write a check. That's what they do. And they almost always have you sign a piece of paper that says, we don't agree, nor do we disagree, but if you'll take this money, we're all done with you, basically, right? And in this case, Florida has a interest statute that any supplemental payments made after 60 days, they have to pay interest payments on. So the idea is that there's been a lot of hurricanes where an adjuster will go out right for the damages that they see, and then internally somebody would change that estimate substantially and then send it out to the client. So instead of it being like $125,000 estimation with the equivalent payment for it, it would be like a $15,000 estimation with an $8,000 deductible. And then, you got to check for a couple grand. You're like, hey, what the heck do I do with this, right? Well, the customer doesn't know that there was all these internal mechanisms that just changed what that individual who came to your house did and said. And then they put that individual came to your house. At that time, they were putting their name on the estimate to make it look like that's what they did. Like this person was some sort of bold-faced liar to you. And which is just not true. So they codified this interest provision into the statute. And so, every time payments are made beyond 60 days, I have this interest calculator, it's a spreadsheet, and there's a decimal point. It's a daily thing. And so we sent them, say, hey, make the payment. We had a larger one with a fire. And, we want them to make an accurate payment as quickly as possible, ideally within 60 days. We know they're going to miss some stuff because, if you're them, you're going to say, hey, you need to prove to me that the thing behind the wall is actually behind the wall, even though we think it's probably there too, right? So this one was, I don't know, it was like $120,000 extra dollars that we got after our involvement. And the carrier, mind you, had already paid $250,000 on that fire loss. So it wasn't like that they didn't pay anything. We sent them the calculation. We sent them the statute. They said, no, we don't owe it. We made the correct payment in this alternative dispute. They did this, they did that. And I said, buddy, you better go check with your manager before you come back to me and answer again. And he comes back, gives me the same answer. I said, okay, you need to go to legal. I'm really telling you, you are misinterpreting this thing. He comes back and he quotes case law. And that's a big deal in our space. I'm an adjuster. I'm not an attorney. That guy's an adjuster. He's not I can't tell you, right? An attorney can advise us and we can convey that message. So I was like, did you say this or did somebody else say this? I knew somebody else said it because the font on the email changed. They wouldn't answer the question, which is the smart thing to do. Don't answer the question. And so I had enough. I drafted a letter and with my client, it looked like it came from them, but we organized it. We bullet pointed all the thing in order that the claim happened. And we sent it to 4 different agencies in the state. And there's something called Department of Financial Services. There's a thing called Tasha Carter Consumer Advocate's Office. And when we sent it to our local congressperson and our senator, we don't know if the congressperson voted on codifying this, but we are pretty positive the senator was heavily involved in codifying this.
Way to go, Senator.
So we sent it to all 4, right? They all ignored it except the senator because we tweaked the message to the senator and said, we think you voted on this. So how do you think, or what did you expect the insurance company's behavior to be when they refuse to acknowledge that they have to abide by these rules? And thank God this guy and his staff sent it to DFS, who was supposed to act on the same message we had sent to them. We sent it to them all on the same day. So this has been like 2 weeks. The senator responds, says, I'm going to send it to DFS. What do you know? DFS starts to actually work on it. They send it to the insurance company. The insurance company then has a certain amount of time to respond. They said, we need more time. Right? What do you need more time for? It's super black and white. And so ultimately we got a check for $11,000 in interest on that claim. And we got a letter from DFS that had the apology on it. Said Castle Key wishes to extend their apologies for misinterpretation of the statute. Castle Key did not put on their letterhead that they made a mistake, but clearly they did.
Yeah. And now it's on a podcast.
It's on the podcast. But the nice thing for us is that I sent a message to the senator like a week after we got the check and we got this letter. And I said, I thank you and your staff so much for following up on this. This was so important to this family. Because I mean, 11 grand's 11 grand, right?
I'll take it.
Exactly. So it was a big deal to them. And their effort alone, all the other agencies ignored it. Their effort alone got it done. And we're really, really appreciative of it. And the fact that we have this now in writing with DFS, and we now know some supervisor level person. I have others in my pipeline where they're doing the same thing. They don't want to pay, but the claim's not completely settled. And so we have one that is already at $6,000 and counting. It'll probably get close to $10,000 or $11,000 by the time it's done. And they're already like, oh, we don't know it. Yes, you do.
Get that gold star adjuster on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the people that are struggling with insurance agencies to get, what they are owed, and then some, those are the ones that need to call you.
Yeah. I mean, really, if your claim, here's what we tell people. You can totally call us when you're in the middle of it and it's all messed up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'd prefer you call us before it gets messed up. I remember meeting somebody. We were in, I don't know, it was like Hurricane Ian. So we're down there in Southwest Florida. We're eating dinner. And they're like, hey, who are you? What do we do? And we're like, oh, we're public insurance. It's like, oh, we had a flood. We're handling it on our own. I said, okay, great. I said, what do you do? He says, oh, I'm a tax accountant. I said, oh, really? He says, yeah. I says, tell you what. I said, do you like your customers to come to you after the IRS audits you? Or do you like to get them before they go and get audited? He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, obviously. And I said, exactly. So I was like, if you let us work on it from the beginning, it's cleaner. We keep track of everything. And we tell people you get to the finish line faster. If you let the other side make a payment to see what they're going to do first, and then you get us involved later, you're fine. You're within your right to do that. It just takes longer. And so we always, the conversation I have with people oftentimes is, what's more important, time or money? And, they'll tell us. It's one or the other.
Yeah, good question. That's a good question for anybody. Do you have more time than money, more money than time?
Mm-hmm.
Do different things.
100%.
Yeah. Wow. I like that. All right, let's hear some more stories, Peter. I love your stories.
I want to get back to the commercial thing. Is that okay? I got a really funny one.
Let's hear it.
Do you remember the Bud Light swear jar? Do you remember that commercial?
I can't recall it at this time.
Yeah, you're going to have to Google it when we get out of here. So there's a Bud Light swear jar.
Refresh my memory.
So they have to put money in a swear jar to buy Bud Light.
Every time they swear.
Correct.
Got it.
And so somebody says, hey, can you hand me a pencil? And he doesn't do anything. She's like, can you hand me a pencil? He's like, yes. So then she has to put $1 or whatever into the swear jar so they have more money to buy Bud Light, right?
That's genius.
So we're gonna do a twist on that. That's one of our ideas. There's other ones too, but I'm excited to see it get shot and how we can make it turn out and stuff like that. So I think it'll be really neat.
So good. Buy more Bud Light. So what would you have the swear jar to buy?
Yeah, good question. What do public adjusters want to buy? I don't know.
Yeah.
More hair for our head, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't torn it all out because it can be really frustrating sometimes.
Yes. So what about because we're in Florida, obviously hurricanes, right now we have, it's hurricane season. So there's 20-mile-per-hour winds. I live at the beach. And when I left to come here today, I was just really strong winds. And I was and it reminded me of okay, hurricane season is here, and as a surfer, I get excited about it for the surf, right? Let's catch some waves.
Yeah.
But because you don't have a lot of those in Jacksonville Beach, unless there's a hurricane. But as an adjuster, what would you say to these, to people that maybe have had some damage from, strong winds or hurricanes or something like that? And they're just it's fine, Well,
it's definitely take a look at it. Filing hurricane claims doesn't, from what I'm told by agents, and maybe we'll get comments on this, it doesn't really affect your underwriting.
Okay.
The way that, say, if you have a pipe leak or a fire, or especially vandalism, they don't like those. But pipe leaks, bother them. But hurricanes, it's an act of God.
Yeah.
So they are less problematic to your underwriting file and whatnot. So yeah, investigate it. Have people look at it. But I would go back even before the hurricane. Nobody does this, but you really should. We don't know why business owners and homeowners alike, especially the people that are connected to us personally or know other people that are in our space, whether they're attorneys, or get your policies looked at, right? And let us tell you what's in them. We have one claim, and it's not my claim, it's one of my teammates' claims. It's a large furniture store. And he had a big leak, and he had a big insurance company. A very, very well-known, that's all over the NFL, with a very, very famous NFL quarterback that sponsors that team.
Gotcha.
Fight like heck on this one before they finally made like a $600,000 payment on it, right? The guy had another leak. And it was a big one, but he has a different insurance company. So he bought this policy and didn't ask anybody in our office to read it and tell him what it means. So we think his coverage is really low, problematically low. So we just think people should just ask. We'll read it and we'll tell you what it means because, you know, for you, it's free. For us, we just get to build our relationship with you so that you remember to call us in the event of, you know, how valuable our service is, right?
Prevention is the best course of action. So most people want to pay the lowest premium, right? So they're paying the lowest premium without actually taking a look at their policy. So they don't know what their coverages are in the event of needing to be covered. That's what you're saying.
Yes and no. That's really complicated. So I could take two policies with two very different premium numbers, hold them side by side with the exact same coverages. And you would think, I just saved a bunch of money. I'm all good here. But going back to my statement, these insurance companies are like children. They all have their own personalities. Some are customer focused. Some of them are profit driven. And if they're profit driven, they have a lot of things in place for their staff to follow in order to make payments on claims. And the things tend to do what you think they might do. It makes it harder to pay more.
Hi, I'm not the real Tanya. I'm her AI clone. The real Tanya is busy training more VAs to help entrepreneurs like you get their time back.
She knows you're drowning in emails, scheduling, and support tasks that steal your focus and energy. That's why she built her VA agency, to give you trained assistants who take over admin work and support your growth, accountability, and mindset. Within the first week, clients are already freeing up hours, finally focusing on scaling instead of survival.
So if you're ready to stop working like your own assistant, click the link to book a call with Tanya. Your freedom starts now.
Okay.
So exact same numbers, exact same, I've got mold coverage, I've got this, I've got that, these amounts are the same. The claim will get handled entirely differently.
Okay.
So that would be really, really hard for a consumer to usually wouldn't know.
But it is always good for them to call you and say, hey, can you take a look at my policy? Let me know what my coverages are. And then go from there and then be able to adjust the coverages with their insurance company so that when a fire or black mold or, a flood, a pipe leak, what's some of the other ones?
So we tend to find on, let's just say, homes that are insured for let's say $400,000 and less.
Okay.
Especially $300,000 and less. We find that they do not have enough housing allowance to move out of their house if, let's say a tree fell on it.
Okay.
It's not safe, right? Fire, a pipe break so severe that, everything's messed up. And so they run out of money to live somewhere else really pretty quick. So that one is there are a lot of built-in things for these policies that prevent them from getting a little bit bigger. But when we look at them for people, depending on what their situation is, we can tell you hey, okay, we look at it in Google Earth, we see it and we just ask a couple of questions and I mean, I feel like I know, hey, what are your most common claim types? This is what's going to happen to your home or the highest likely odds, right? And so, we would look at it and we would tell them, hey, these are where your gaps are. Try to get it changed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everybody can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I could definitely do that.
Yeah.
When it comes to, I have a number of insurance policies, even for my car. I could probably take a look at that. Because again, I'm always going for that low premium. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, we all are the same way, right? We don't want to be wasteful with money, but sometimes we don't understand how our money is working for us. So, just our clothes for that matter, right? You buy the cheapest possible clothes, the material's not as nice, it doesn't wash and wear as well, all that kind of stuff. So in whatever space you are a professional in, you understand what the value of money does. Here we are in this nice studio, got lots of nice cameras and microphones and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's probably not the cheapest stuff.
Right. It's quality.
Right.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
Luxury of all luxuries, right?
Yeah. But it's going to last longer. Like you said, it's you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I used to be a makeup artist for Chanel, and they sort of indoctrinate you into the brand and, Coco Chanel's story and all of the natural ingredients in the products. And, I worked there for a while, and I was a trainer, but to this day, I still just have been indoctrinated and believe that this is the top quality makeup. Like I will spend $60 on a bottle of foundation because I know it's going to last me 6 months. It's quality. I mean, I look really ugly without my makeup. And
probably not, but okay.
No, and I'm just saying, it's definitely makes me feel more confident too. So, but I'm saying all this to say that, on the topic of quality, I think it comes down to your belief as well, right? So when you say, okay, I believe this is the best quality, rather than I'm going to buy a cheap shirt that I can't put in the dryer, and just because it's affordable. Like what's the root of it? Do you think it's beliefs? And if so, what are your beliefs around that, around money and stuff like that?
Are we talking like insurance products, or we're just talking in general?
Let's talk general.
In general, 100%. You believe in it. If you believe in it, for sure, right?
Yeah.
For other things, there's science-based facts. But I do agree with you. If the product, like you mentioned, makeup, you feel like you look better in it, and so therefore it has an effect beyond just what its job is. Right. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get it. And so I guess for everything in life, you try to figure out where should I spend more money and where can I get value and save money, right? 100%.
Yeah. So what do you believe?
How do you mean?
About money.
I like it.
Yeah.
So I my money habits are that I like it. I love to make it. I don't want to be cheap with it to where people feel like I'm getting over on them. I do that for multiple reasons, right? It's as it relates to my fee, as it relates to the people I share it with. And then personally, my personal spending habits, I don't know if it's like a character defect. I really have had trouble spending money on myself. Like if I buy a pickup truck, do I buy a fully loaded every bell and whistle, or do I just buy what I need? And I'm more like buy what I need and then keep it and take care of it for a really long time, right? Just keep it in excellent condition. Just take care of the things that I've got. So, I don't know. I'm not the best at spending it.
Yeah.
I like harvesting it.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You got to have seed time.
Right. It's true.
Yeah. But I know that, you are also very generous. I think a lot of us probably struggle from this same kind of scenario. I have helped a lot of people become extremely wealthy, and didn't focus as much on building my own brand and building my own advertising structure until quite recently, when I was like, wait a minute, what about me? And I think we all come to that place. Like you started off sharing like, hey, I wanted to be in more control of what my life looked like day to day, what my money looked like day to day. And I think that is a big motivator for so many people to say, hey, I want to start my own business, or I want to, do something that, is just calling me. And so when you start doing that and like you're living, like, say, paycheck to paycheck, right? Like you're living paycheck to paycheck, and like you mentioned at the beginning, like, that paycheck is disappearing, and then you get to a point where you get laid off, and then you're like, now what? I've got, a month until I'm screwed.
Right. Oh yeah. It was kind of scary. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there. Absolutely. I'm so grateful that, I was able to start to shift my thoughts. And that's what you kind of touched on in the beginning. And I want to circle back to that because I really love your mindset. And I think a lot of our listeners and the people that I know have reached out to me that listen to the Power of Decision, they're always asking, like, where do I start? And for me, it was like gratitude. I started to, instead of saying, oh, I don't have this, I started just being grateful. Every time I was at the grocery store, I wasn't complaining about the price of things going up. I was just like, thank you for the money. Every time I was swiping my card, I just shifted into like a gratitude. Where would you say you kind of started when you shifted from being an employee to being a 1099, self-employed?
Yeah, I wish I could say gratitude, and I don't think it was.
Okay.
Not for me. So it was more fear and a scarcity mindset. And so I think that's it. Look, there's a person in my family that has a scarcity mindset, and it's sort of rubbed off on me. So it was always keep making more than you spend. And when I had the W-2 job, I was like, well, I'm just going to pay a check in a couple of weeks. When I didn't have it, the income became really, really inconsistent. But you couldn't, what does your failure look like, right? You can't pay your rent, or you can't pay your mortgage, and you lose your car and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't really seem like an option. You just have to go out there and do what you got to do, right? So I think for me personally, that's probably more so what it was, that I had a lot of trouble relaxing. And then when I started this here in Florida, this public adjusting thing, it was the same thing. It was really, really hard when I first got started. I remember counting change to buy, what is that, Papa Murphy's Pizza where you can take and bake? Is that the one?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not kidding. We'd count $5 to see if we could go get a pizza. And I had bought I bought with my eyes this pickup truck I couldn't afford. For the first few months, I was doing fine. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh my God, I can't afford this thing. I'm ready to let it get repoed. At the time, my significant other's like, don't do it. We need to have a nice vehicle. Just keep it. So we ended up keeping it, and we were having trouble with making the house payment and all of that. So, I mean, our back was against the wall for sure. And you just kept doing little things on a daily basis, and it compounds on itself. So the people that say, where do I start? That's where you start. Just put one foot in front of the other, because it's always it's a bunch of small things that over a long period of time, you turn back and go, wow, I've come really far. So it's always that.
Exactly. A bunch of small decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, before we went on air today, I asked you, the question that I ask everyone: what one decision changed your life? And the question that I've been asking for 4 years, and I've gotten, hundreds now of answers that all sort of look the same. And that is, well, I've made a lot of decisions, and you just laid it out so beautifully. And it's like, we make probably thousands of them throughout the day. Like, am I going to say this? Am I going to not say this? I'm going to eat this. I'm going to wear this. Am I going to go to this podcast recording? We make so many of them. And if you are, like you said, taking one step and making a series of good decisions, then by the end of just one day, you can end up in a different place than you were yesterday. And that's the beauty of the show and the beauty of asking other people about it, because we get to hear your story and your journey and be reminded that, wait, Peter can do this too. Peter can transform his life by making a decision, and another one, and another one, and another one. And now here you are. How long has that been since Ohio to now?
Oh, probably 2007 so 18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
And you don't have to count change for pizza anymore, right?
No, not anymore. I won't miss lunch.
No, it's taking people out to Fogo de Chao, Dinner's on Peter.
Oh, that was a nice event.
Was that good? I know, I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
Next time, I hope for the invite.
Yeah. It'll be on the short list, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you make the cut.
But yeah, you get to live this big, beautiful life now because you took this chance and you made this decision. What would you say are some other decisions that you're making now to transform your future? Besides the funny commercials, of course, which I can't wait to see. And I'm happy to help you with that.
No. That's good. It's a good point that you made. So I think the decision probably gets back to what you mentioned. So scarcity mindset drove me for a really long time. But now, because I'm in a different place in my life, it's more about gratitude. And so in my life and in my career, I saw this, it was like climbing up a mountain, right? And then all of a sudden I came down the other side of the mountain pretty quickly in the last couple of years. And, your work, your social life, all of it takes a hit at the same time. It's a really, really amazing ride, not in a good way, but it is what it is. So I think now I come from a place of gratitude, and it's the small steps. It's the building on little things to help yourself for work and for building your community for your social and your loved ones that you want to be surrounded by for this next phase in life, for sure.
That's so important. That's another good decision that we make, like who we're spending our time with, because it really does make an impact. I know for me, on my mental health, if you're hanging out with somebody toxic and dealing with their drama, you can definitely get sucked into it. But I love that saying that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I don't know if you've heard that one.
I've heard it for sure, yeah.
And so I really I call it my 6-pack. I'm in the 6-pack with these 5 other people that I'm real tight with. And what's happening for them is, what rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing is going to happen for me too. And I really strongly believe that if you can look around and see people that are successful, that are close with you, that you're spending a lot of time with, you will, continue on that trajectory because you don't do it alone, right? And you mentioned that you have a team. So is that you have an office and everything else? So you now have expanded your business.
Yeah. So back in 2016,
okay,
I'd started being a public adjuster in 2013. So between 2013 and 2016, I'm going along, getting my 10,000 hours, developing my skills, just trying to get better and better and better. Because at first you don't know what you're doing. You have the license, but you really have no clue what you're doing. And so this hurricane happened, Hurricane Matthew, and we're getting inundated with all of these claims, and we just couldn't keep up with them. And the other thing was, when it comes to hurricanes, the state regulates that we reduce our fee. So it's like, okay, fine, we'll do this. And I was like, how do we manage the amount of claims and do them in a proficient way, where it works? Somebody's like, oh, you got to expand. And I was afraid to do it because I didn't think that I could afford to pay somebody. And I happened to be playing on a men's softball team. And I talked to one of the guys on the team and said, hey, do you know because there's a lot of younger guys on the team. Do you know anybody who's looking for a job? I would like to hire somebody. And he told me the one guy that still works with me today. It's amazing. We've been together for however long that is. Now we're with 8 or 9 years or something. Yeah. So now we're like brothers, and we fight like brothers sometimes. We love each other, which is great. I'm very, very thankful that we've worked together. And so we're close, both for work, but also personally, I feel like I share more of my life with him than he does with me. But either way, I'm really appreciative of it. So this individual named Dan, he does a great job. He's been with me a long time. And so, when he first started, he didn't even know how to hold a ladder, unfold it, climb on a roof, or use this estimating software. Over the years, is just skills have developed tremendously.
Hi, I'm not the real Sarah. I'm her AI clone. The real Sarah is out helping first responders, landlords, and homeowners deal with some pretty messy situations.
She leads a trusted 24/7 cleanup team, trained and trusted to step in when life takes an unexpected turn. From crime scenes to biohazards like hoarding, Jack's Decon restores safety with compassion, dignity, and respect. It's not just cleanup, it's care when families need it most. When every second counts, call Sarah, day or night.
The real Sarah built this team to restore peace to chaos, because real heroes don't wear capes, they wear hazmat suits.
And then at different times during the way, we've had other people come and work directly with us. There was another individual out of the Panhandle who I really, really like, and I would love for him to work with us again if we can find a way to do that. Because as you might imagine, insurance adjuster, you got to write estimates and things like this. And I would say that we're pretty good, but this person is like the Michelangelo of, he's unbelievable. I mean, probably the best I've ever met. So he was really, really smart guy. Really, that's his one true God-given talent. And I'd love to work with him again.
The Michelangelo of insurance adjusting.
Estimating. Yeah. So to give you an example, at that time we were working together, we had 2 church projects, really large ones in Panhandle. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. And you don't want to say his name.
I don't really want to say because they're landmark places and things like that.
Gotcha.
But, they were multiple buildings, all different kinds of materials, all different kinds of things. So he just did such a great job. And I remember on one claim we had to sue the insurance company to get them to pay. And the expert witness who came in to work on behalf of the plaintiff attorney said, well, here's our estimate. He's like, I'll be honest with you. He's like, we didn't need to change a whole lot. This is the best estimate we've ever seen from a public adjuster before. Now, to describe to you how much time it took an incredible amount of time with this individual and me. So he would do like a building, and then I would drive to this area, and then I would walk the building with him, and we would figure out what was true, what wasn't true. I mean, it was just painstakingly detailed, Wow. But he did a really excellent job, and I'd like to work with him again for sure.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love meeting people that are just excellent at what they do.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. That's one thing I noticed because of how you and I know each other. When you can sense or tell somebody has a high skill level, I really like that. And I really appreciate that they are good at their craft. So everybody who comes into our space, public adjusting, either comes with Gold Star or is in the industry. It's the first piece of advice I give them is like, just get really good at your craft because the income will follow. People, when they have these things, they want to know who they're dealing with, know what they're doing, and know how to take care of solve all their problems. And if you actually know how to do that, they're willing to pay for that service.
Absolutely. That is very true. And you mentioned how we know each other. So Peter and I are a member of a networking organization, and we get together every single week, and everybody has their own specific seat in the organization. And mine is digital marketing, and yours is insurance adjusting. And what's been really beautiful about that is just like you said, the consistency. Because personally, as somebody that works remotely and works digitally, and I have a team, all over the world, it was really hard for me to really conform, if you will, to that weekly meeting. And I remember, just committing to, okay, I'm going to do this for 1 year. And it's been 10 months now. And in that year, wouldn't you say, and I'm just going to kind of put you on the spot right now, that my presentation, because we give presentations every week as well, has really been dialed in and gotten more focus? Or how would you say that doing that on a consistent basis, is my question, has really demonstrated like what the power of commitment and consistency looks like from your perspective?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So would you say that you've seen me evolve in any way from doing that? Because I know it's been hard for me.
Yeah. At first, when you get in there and you don't know anybody, it's hard to speak in front of people.
Right.
It is for a lot of people, at least, right? And so you probably grew more comfortable with the group, simultaneously realizing which parts of your message actually land and get people to, perk up, because it's early in the morning.
Yeah.
Everybody's, sleep deprived a little bit.
7:30. Yeah. No coffee can cure it.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good point. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate and respect your opinion. So I'm grateful to hear that. And, I think networking too has been another great way where I've gotten to learn the power of referrals. So one of the things that I've done and created, is a referral program, because I really want to ask people, hey, do you know anybody that needs what I do? And usually people do. And if they say no, it's usually because there's something that I can do better. So I can be the Michelangelo of marketing, you know, like, how can I get better? So I love that what you've shared today is all about like, here's what I did. Here's where I am now. Here's where I'm going. But it continues to be an evolutionary journey. And it continues to be like, how can I help more people? How can I get better at my craft? I love that. How can I be a better version of myself? Right?
Yeah.
What would you say is your message then overarching? Like, what would you like to leave with the listeners today, Peter?
Gosh, you stumped me.
Besides all the things I just said that you've already said. I sort of recapped what you said. I'm like, Peter, you have talked about all these amazing things. What's next? What can people do next besides visit goldstarradjusters.com and follow you on social media to check out your funny commercials and look at their policies and all the fun things we talked about?
You know, are we talking like in general, like how can people help themselves in life? Just take one step forward, right?
Yeah, like share your wisdom.
Yeah. So don't be afraid of failure.
That's a good one.
That's it. I mean, it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do. You're going to make mistakes along the way. You know, even in what we do, we have people that are sometimes a little gun shy. Be like, hey, I'm going to make a mistake. Who cares? Make it, own it, move on with it, and go do something else, right? Put it behind you.
Yeah.
Keep putting things behind you.
Fail faster.
Correct. And then just correct the and move on. That's it.
Boom.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, don't give up. Even I can get really, really impatient. I am. It's just the nature that things don't move fast enough for me sometimes. And just keep chopping wood. Just keep going to work every day. You know, one small thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another.
Chop wood, carry water.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I first started dating my husband, he would go to the pool every single day. He swam every single day. And I asked him, I said, are you training? Are you training for something? Or, you know, why are you doing this? Every single day for like an hour and a half. Like he's a maniac and I love it. And I respect it, but I didn't understand it at first. And it was like, no, I'm training for life, he said. And it was when you just said chop wood, carry water, or just, you said chop wood, but I was reminded too of a similar story where, you know, the difference between somebody that's been enlightened is, you know, they're trying to seek enlightenment while they chop wood and carry water. And then they hit that enlightenment. And then what did they do after it? They chop wood, carry water, you know, like, oh, okay, I'm enlightened now. I still have to do work, you know, I still got to do the things.
Correct. Yeah. Even you might set a goal for yourself. You hit that goal, quickly try to set yourself another goal, realign your mindset and just keep doing the little things. It's the habits. I've always thought for myself personally that habits were one of the things that were a separator for me, maybe compared to others.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Habitual behavior. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have a schedule. I don't know what I'd do without my calendar. Well, Peter, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for chatting with me today. I'm going to ask you one more question. And that is, why is it called Gold Star Adjusters?
Gosh, I'd have to ask the guy who named it Gold Star Adjusters.
Oh, okay.
The owner is named Mark Goldwich, so I have to assume it had something to do with his last name.
And everybody wants a gold star.
Yeah.
Like, who doesn't want a gold star, right?
I want gold stars when we were kids and stuff, for
yeah.
sure.
Like, I remember those little stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
I think it's just a play on his name, honestly.
I like it. Okay, so check out goldstarradjusters.com. Thank you so much for being with us today, Peter. I really appreciate you. And for more information, visit taraweisner.com on how you can learn more about Gold Star Adjusting and our sponsors today. So thanks for being with us, Peter.
All right. Thanks, Tara.